Hi, my name is Kat, or the Free Librarian, and welcome back to a new vlog. It is now Friday, and boy has it been a day so far. This morning there were 4 wasps in my room, so I probably have a nest somewhere. Love that for me. They're gone now, I hope. I haven't heard any buzzing for the last few hours, so I think they're gone, fingers crossed. And then I'm also just really sweaty, not because it's warm or anything, it's just humidity. It's insane today. But I wanted to start this vlog. So what am I currently reading? The first thing I'm going to focus on is Servant of the Empire by Raymond, Feist, and Janny Wurts, the second book in the Empire-trilogy. I have 60 pages left, so I'll probably finish this one today. I'm not loving it, but it's 60 more pages. I'm gonna finish it. But yeah, I don't think I'll continue on with the series. Unless the ending is amazing and I need to know what happens. I'm probably not gonna read a third book. Yeah, I don't know. It's really different from book 1 because I really loved book 1, but just the characters don't feel like the same people. Like it seems like it was written by someone else entirely. And I don't like it. And it makes no sense. And I'm just get mad every time I read this. So I don't like it, but I will finish it. That's this book. I'm also reading Pillars of the Earth, which I am loving. I have 70 pages left in that, so I plan to finish that one tomorrow. So I'll talk about that once I finished it, but I'm really loving it. It's really good. Then I'm also reading Shelter Mountain, which I'll probably continue this week, but I'm gonna finish the 2 books I just mentioned first. So I also talk about that a little bit later. It's the second book in the Virgin River series. I'm like 20 pages in, so I can't say much. So far, I'm enjoying it. And I really love book 1, so I expect to at least have a good time with it. Then I have a little library haul for you guys. First of all, in the hall of my university, there's like bookshelves with free books that you can take if you want. And I took a look today, and they had Sparkling Cyanide by Agatha Christie, so I took it with me, primarily for my grandma because she really likes Agatha Christie. So I'll probably just give it to her for her to read, because she's always looking for books, but she never really knows what to read. So I'll give her this. Then I went to the library, in the first place to pick up Everyone Knows Your Mother the Witch. I am buddy reading this with Yolene from Yolene Reads, in October. I really don't like this cover. I think it's really ugly. There's a nicer cover out available that looks very medievally because it's set Is there a year on here? Do we get a year? $16.15. It's set in, so this is not giving me $16.15. This is giving me like those super literary sci-fi books. That's the vibe this is giving to me, which is not this. This is a historical novel about a woman who is accused of being a witch. We have the 30 Years' War. We have the plague. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I don't know what else to say about this. Then I also looked for some sequels that I would like to get to. So I took with me Cytonic by Brandon Sanderson, the third book in the Skyward series. It's been a while. For some reason, I always leave a pretty big gap between these books. And I don't know why. It's not like I don't like them, but it's just whenever I finish one, I don't really feel the urge to pick up the next one straight away. But yeah, I do want to continue the series, and then the final book comes out in November. I should really check that. So then I would like to finish this series either this year or early next year. If you don't know, it's a YA sci-fi series about a girl named Cinza who wants to be a pilot to defend her planet from these aliens who attack every once in a while. But her father was a traitor, so she faced a lot of prejudice. People don't want her to be a pilot, essentially. And then things go from there. This looks really... Well, no, it's fine. It looks chunkier than it is, I feel like, in comparison to other books that I have. I don't know. Yeah, I'm excited about this one. And then another sequel is The Bone Shard Emperor by Andrea Stewart. This is the one I'm the most excited about out of the books I got. I really need to know what happens next. Book 2 left, no, book 1, this is book 2. Book 1, The Bone Shard Daughter, left off in a very interesting place, and I really want to know. So I'm super excited. This is the second book in the Drowning Empires trilogy, which is set in a world where there is bone shard magic. So every citizen has to give the emperor a little bone shard of them, which the emperor can then use to power these constructs. And we follow a few POVs, but the main one, or the one that is talked about the most, is Lynn, who is the daughter of the emperor. But she has memory loss, and her father won't teach her the magic until she has her memories back. So she's trying to get them back. And this is how the story continues. I cannot wait to read this one. I also love this cover. I think it's really, really stunning. So yeah, that is that. And then I also went looking for some comics. There was one that I was specifically looking for. And according to the website of the library, they had it, and like no one had borrowed it or something. And it also says like where you can find it in the library. And I looked there, but it wasn't there. And I looked at a few other places where it maybe possibly could be, and it wasn't there either. So I don't know where it could be. I'm a little sad because I was really excited about that one, but I picked up 3 other ones. So I have the first volume in the Compostela series, which is about a group of pilgrims who go to Compostela in the 13th century and who look for a treasure on the way, but the treasure is cursed. I'm really excited about this one. This is, out of the comics, this is the one I'm most excited about. It sounds great. Then I have the first volume in the Dwarves series, which is about a dwarf who used to be a blacksmith and who was on his way to become like the big, most important master blacksmith. But he didn't want to do that anymore because he didn't want to be involved in killing people, which obviously is a blacksmith making swords and stuff. He's indirectly involved in that, so he didn't want to do that anymore. But people think he's a traitor, he's a coward. And so when he gets a son, that also reflects on him, which kind of reminds me of Skyward. But yeah, I flipped through the pages and it's quite violent and like a lot of blood and stuff. So I'm slightly hesitant because of that, because that's usually not my vibe. But I'll give it a try. So yeah, and then the last one I got is the first album in the Oliver and Peter series, who are Oliver Twist and Peter Pan. So I imagine they're gonna get into a lot of mischief. Maybe some heist type thing going on. I don't know. I don't know exactly, but I know exactly what it's about. I'm just going off of vibes, and then I'm completely making it up. But I do know that it's Oliver Twist and Peter Pan, which is what got me excited about this. In my last vlog, if you remember, I said I was not going to start any new series, and all 3 of these are the starts of series. So is anyone surprised? But they're comic series, so like they take me an hour to read, not even, or like half an hour to read, and I usually tend to read them fairly quickly together, at least if the next volume is out, which is the case for all 3 of these. So I'm not too worried about starting a comic series. I don't have anyone going at the moment. I either finished, caught up, or DNF'd the ones that I was reading. So I don't mind starting a comic series, or a few, but it's still series that I'm starting, which I should stop doing and just finally finish. So, well, if I'm DNFing the Empire-trilogy, and I have 2 more continuous series, so that's at least this one I will be caught up with, unless the 4th book, Defiant, comes out before I'm able to finish this, but whatever. I'm really excited about these, and I'm happy. So I should maybe stop rambling because I've been talking for a long time. So I'll talk later. Bye. Hi, it's Monday evening. I don't have much time, so I'm gonna make this quick because tonight I may or may not have a date. I'm really excited, but also nervous. But let's make this quick. Also because I just wanted to document a look because I'm really happy with it. Anyway, over the weekend, I finished a few things. I think the last thing I talked about is The Power of a Woman. I already mentioned that I finished that, I hope. So then the next thing is Pillars of the Earth by Ken Follett. I finished that one. And I really loved it. The characters just jumped off the page for me. There was one POV character called William, and every second I had to spend in his POV, I wanted to take a shower. He was a terrible human being. But all the characters were just so vivid. I love Jack. Protect him at all cost. What else? It was really there was a lot of political intrigue, which I really liked, and it goes on different levels. So you have within the monastery, people are trying to Philip, who's a new prior, and not everyone is happy with that. And then also the bishop, who's also trying to get power, but also just worldly politics. There's a civil war about who will be the King of England, for example. There's a lot of maneuvering and sort of the odds turning, at one point one person's winning and then the next one is winning. So that was really interesting. It made it very tense and gave it a very epic scope. It's quite a dark story. There are some very graphic scenes, especially essay scenes. So definitely content warning there. But also a few other things. It's a dark read. But yeah, I really loved it. I also liked the details about just the architecture. I ate them up. It's great. I highly recommend. Then I finished Servant of the Empire. Which I didn't like as much. It's the sequel to Daughter of the Empire, which I really enjoyed. I read it in August. And yeah, it also had a lot of politicking. But what I liked about book one is that it was very subtle. And also just a lot to do with economy and stuff. So, for example, our main character would subtly pull some strings that made another character they needed money, and so they had to be in her debt, and because of that she could get them to do certain things, right? She was forcing people into positions where they had to do what she wanted them to do. This one didn't have that as much. It was very much military and very stabby, which I didn't like as much. And yeah, I didn't feel that Mora had to use her brain as much, which is whoever has the strongest military wins this thing, which is very different from book one. And book one created this expectation that it would be just more subtle, using your wits to get out of situations. And I was really sad that I didn't get that in book two. Also, the characters just didn't behave like they did in book one. They felt like different people. And the Minwanabi, who are the villains in the story, felt very mustache twirly. In book one, they didn't have much nuance to them as well, but book one was entirely or pretty much entirely from Moira's POV, so it makes sense for her to really hate her enemy and think of them as the bad guy because they killed her family, which is not a spoiler. That's literally the beginning of the book, of book one. I mean, but the second book has more POVs, including the Minwanabi, and I just assumed that in book one the information was heavily filtered, but it wasn't. So it felt very mustache twirly because of that. I didn't like it. Also, there was a romance in this, which was terrible. I mean, I get that it's written in like the 80s or 90s, so I don't expect the most healthy romance. But even then, I didn't like it. So, yeah. I'm not going to continue that series. But that's what I finished. I have read some more of Shelter Mountain by Robyn Carr, which is the second book in the Virgin River series. It's really funny because I always say they're feel good and I get a smile on my face every time I read them, but they deal with very difficult topics. Or at least the first two books have. This one deals with domestic abuse. So the main character, she ends up in Virgin River because she's on the run for her husband, and she took a wrong turn, and so that's how she ended up there. So it's not like everything is just light and fluffy, but just these characters are so everyone is so supportive of her, and they help her, and they're so kind to her and empathetic to her. And just the relationship is so beautiful because of that. Like even if they're older romances, they're so caring and beautiful, and I love that about it. So that's why I'm smiling constantly. So I'm really loving that. I'm about a third of the way through, I think. Then I also started an audiobook, which is Divine Arrivals by Rebecca Ross. This wasn't on my TBR, but I had it checked out from the library. I just forgotten about it when I filmed my TBR video, and by the time I remembered that I had it, I'd already uploaded it. But I started that one. I read the entirety of part one. And yeah, I'm enjoying it. It has some fun bits and pieces, some fun lore about it. The relationship is fun, and the writing style is really lyrical. I'm not fully sold just yet, but that could happen. But I'm having a good time with that one. So that's what I'm reading currently. I'll talk to you once I have more updates. I'm gonna enjoy my date tonight. Bye. Hi. It is Tuesday evening. And I have something to report. First of all, I forgot to mention in my previous updates that during the weekend I had started the Thursday Murder Club, but I had started it in Dutch, but the translation really wasn't good. In September, I'd already tried this one, but I couldn't get on with the writing style, and that was a combination of both expectation and the translation that I was reading. I just expected the writing style to be something different from what it was, But then I tried it again this weekend, and it worked a little better because I knew what to expect, so I wasn't taken aback by it. But also I realized that the translation I was reading was just not very good. Like, you could literally tell that it was not a good translation. So I went to the library to get the English one, and I'll continue my read with this one. I'm this far into it, about a third, and I'm really enjoying it. If you haven't heard of this book, it's about a group of people in a retirement community, and every Thursday they come together and solve an old murder cold case, something that never has been solved, until one day someone dies, and it's sort of like the person is sort of connected to this community. It was a project developer that was has built the community, and they were going to expand. So they're excited because they have like an actual murder to solve now. And so that's what this book is about. It's a mystery, a cozy mystery. I really like the personalities of these people, especially Elizabeth is just... I love Elizabeth, and she just knows what she wants, and she gets it, and, you know, if she has to break the law for it, like, she can't know it's against the law. She's just an old lady. I love it. So yeah, I'll continue it. But I'm quite enjoying this. But while I was at the library, I thought I could take another look for the one comic that I'd mentioned that I wanted, but I didn't find. But I find it now. There it is. In Dutch, it's called The Paris of Miracles. I don't think there's an English version because it's a fairly new release. I'm not sure what the French name is either. I could look it on. Le Paris des Merveilles. So the same thing. Okay, it's a historical fantasy with a mystery component, set in 1909, and I'm really excited for this. But I read another comic. In Dutch, it's called The Root of All Evil. In French, which is the original language, it's called The Mother of All Evil. So it's somewhere in that area, but I couldn't find an English version, so I don't think it exists. The first album in Oliver and Peter. It starts off in London in 1906. Hang on, let me check. 1904. And Oliver Twist, who is an adult by now, goes to the theater to watch a play called Peter Pan. And he's a little upset because how dare this James Matthew Barrie claim that he wrote the story when Oliver knows the boy whose story this actually is and still remembers vividly how they've met. So we get a flashback where Peter, which is him, ends up in London in 1888 when Oliver Twist is a kid, and the story of Oliver Twist is taking place. He's the thief at that time. And Hook is in London as well. And both Peter and Hook are trying to find Wendy. Because, you know, Peter and Wendy is kind of, you know, a story. And Hook, would that be a spoiler? The thing is, comics are very short, so it's very easy to spoil them. So I'm not going to tell you why Hook is looking for her. But yeah, Hook is also looking for Peter because he wants to kill Peter, and then Oliver has to help him. And yeah, it's really fun. We have a few other literary references in here. I just finished it right before starting to film this clip, and I really need to know what happened next. It's 3 albums in total. It's not a very long series. So I'm probably just gonna binge the other 2, because I really need to know what happens. So yeah, that's the update. I'm gonna watch some Only Murders in the Building now. I don't know if I will be able to film tomorrow, but Thursday morning I have a hair appointment because I'm gonna dye my hair, and I'm really happy with, so I'll end the vlog after that so I can show it to you. I'm really excited about it because it's something that I've been wanting to do for a very long time, and now I'm finally doing it. I'm excited. I will probably take the Thursday Murder Club with me, because like it can take a while, and so I'll probably be able to make quite a dent in this one while I'm there. So yeah, that's the update, and I will talk to you again on Thursday. Hi. I know I said that the next clip would be after my hair appointment, but it's not. It's still before. It's Thursday morning. But I didn't want to talk about something because I started Everyone Knows Your Mother is a Witch. I'm buddy reading this with Yolene from Yolene Reads. It's quite an annoying book to buddy read, actually, because the chapters aren't numbered and I don't even have names. So we're just doing it with percentages, but it's not it. But I'm not fully loving this. I should first tell you what it's about. It's a historical novel about a woman who is accused of being a witch. But I have a few issues with it. Not necessarily the story itself, just the writing of it. I'm not in love with the autorial voice. Which is a very personal thing, of course. You can love it, but at this moment, I'm about 10% in. I'm not loving it, but maybe that can improve as the story, as I keep reading. Also, this book has really short chapters, which can be very hit and miss for me. Sometimes it just moves the pacing along really well, and I just keep reading it because I'm like, oh, I can do one more chapter. Oh, the next chapter is really short. I'll also do that, and then just end up flying through the book because of that. But sometimes, and that's also the case in this one, it just feels very choppy. And I'm not yeah, it's not my thing. Um, Also, I am not getting a really strong sense of the historical setting. Like, obviously, we have someone being accused as a witch, which doesn't happen that often these days. Um, but outside of that, I feel like it could take place at any point in time, almost. Um, I'm not I'm not getting the historical setting really well from this, which is a shame. I was really looking forward to this. But I am only 10% in. Maybe it'll grow on me. Maybe it'll improve. Um, but at this point, I'm not fully loving it, unfortunately. I also read a little bit more of Shelter Mountain, and I'm really loving it. Has been an intense moment. Like a pretty intense scene has just happened, and oof. Um, so that's what I've been saying. It it's very feel good to me, and I'm smiling constantly when I'm reading it. But that's not because nothing intense happened and heavy topics and dark topics aren't handled, but just because the characters are all, or I should say, like the people of Virgin River are also supportive and caring, and there's really this strong sense of community that is really tight knit, like they do anything for one another. But they're not tight knit in a way that like a newcomer won't also be welcomed. And I really love them, and it's the character interactions are what just makes it feel so wholesome and heartwarming. There has been one um line though, and I'm not sure how to interpret it. Um it's about, as I already mentioned, we have the female lead Paige, who has experienced domestic abuse and who ends up in Virgin River because she's on the run for her husband. And she's pregnant, and there is some talks about how she never wanted to have sex with her husband, but she was too afraid to say no. And then she says, like, yeah, so it's not really SA because I didn't say no because I was too afraid to. And I hope that is the character thinking that, and that it gets addressed that even though you didn't explicitly say no, if you have to do those things against your will, then it is SA, and I hope that will get addressed. There was also one moment that I really liked. The male lead preacher, there was talks about how he hasn't never really had a relationship, like an actual relationship, and I really like that they're trying to normalize that because these people are slightly older. I think Preacher's in his like late 30s, early 40s. I don't remember exactly, but somewhere that bracket. And so, like a lot of media is really romance heavy, and I like that this look like though not everyone has like, especially YA media is you can barely find one without a stronger romantic component to it. And I like that it normalizes, like, look, they're like, it, if that's not your experience, that's okay. There are plenty of people who don't have that, and even like at a slightly older age are still unexperienced in a lot of things. So I really like that. That's what I've read. I'm gonna go to my hair appointment, which is in about half an hour, and there I will be taking along the Thursday Murder Club because the lady told me that it can take a while. So I might be able to read quite a bit of this. So I will do that. I really, 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 really want to start 1,000 Heartbeats by Kiera Cass. My bookmark is falling out. I'm so excited about this. But I don't want to start another book before I finish one. So yeah, I also want to start Jade War, which is standing over there. I don't have it with me now. I'm just excited about so many books right now. But really, this one is my number one at the moment. I want to read all the things. But yeah, let's finish something first. I'm gonna read just a little bit more of this until it's time to leave. And then I will come back to for one final update once I'm back home. See you then. My hair is purple. Look. It's not exactly what I had in mind, but I still love it and I'm really happy with it. I'm happy. I also read some more of this while I was there. Not as much as I thought I would. I'm now on page 125 out of 380, so about a third. And I'm really enjoying this. There has been a really funny scene where they're trying to make the police officer uncomfortable in the hope that he would share some information with them. That was a funny scene. Because like that scene was kind of shown from the POV of the poor officer, and yeah, it was funny. What I also like about this is because we have a group of amateur sleuths in this one. Like everyone owes a favor to at least one of them. Mostly Elizabeth and Joyce, who is sort of like the primary POV character, I'd say. She also doesn't know how these other people get things done that they get done, and how they get their information, and how they get away with getting their information. So it makes it a little bit more believable in that regard. But yeah, I'm really liking it. My hair is doing this weird. I don't know why. I'm really liking it. Yeah, yeah, I really got hooked. And I want to know what happens next. I mostly love these characters. Like, the case itself is like, if the case itself would have been the blurb, I wouldn't have picked it up. I'm reading this for the characters, but I like it. So that's the update. That was the vlog. What did I read this vlog? Let me think. I finished The Power of Women. I believe that was in this vlog. Servant of the Empire, Pillars of the Earth, and The Root of Evil / The Mother of Evil, the first album in Peter and Oliver, which hasn't been translated to English. I started The Thursday Murder Club, Everyone Knows Your Mother is a Witch, Divine Rivals, and I continued Shelter Martin, which was already reading. I think that's it. And I got my hair dyed. I'm so happy with this. So yeah, that's the video. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you again in another video. Bye.